Welcome to this first episode of Accessing the Akashic Records, a series that explores the philosophical concepts of current events, spiritual teachings, scientific research, and much more. So what is the Akashic Records? What does it mean for you and me? What does it mean to humanity's future? Come on, let's go wrap our minds around it. My name is Travis Steele, and I'm an amateur ufologist, researcher of religion, shamanism, esoteric wisdom, fringe science, spirituality, and exo-spirituality, which is what I'm currently doing a diploma on, where I'm studying all the topics I just mentioned, as well as accounts and testimonies from contactees, abductees, channelers, whistleblowers, insiders from government agencies, like intelligence, military, politics, aerospace industry, even secret societies. So also any documents pertaining to any of those areas. In doing so, what I've found is some very important correlations, which among other things I'll cover in this series, which I've laid out in a very logical sequence, each building upon the previous episode. So considering the name of the show is called Accessing the Akashic Records, it only makes sense that this first episode is called What is the Akashic Records? So the word comes from the Sanskrit Akasha, which means sky, space, or ether. Now if you know anything about Nikola Tesla, you know he's gone into the ether a lot, or ether, and explained it in great detail. However, science these days has kind of brushed it off, trying to debunk it and say it doesn't exist, when fringe science and people within the fringe science field showing quite otherwise, such as quantum physics and things like that, quantum mechanics. So we certainly know that this field does exist. Call it what you will, give it a different name. If it looks like a duck, smells like a duck, sounds like a duck, so on. Sometimes it's referred to as the Hall of Records or the Book of Life. This spiritual hard drive is a repository of all thoughts, actions, intentions, experiences of a planetary sphere where they reside. So its existence is referred to in all major religions, and it's said to have been accessed by Nostradamus, Nikola Tesla, Manly Palmer Hall, Edgar Casey, and many other great minds. Now, according to the Law of One, which is a text, spiritual text that I'll go into in great detail in later episodes, it says that this field resides in the 8th dimension, just outside our octave of consciousness where the Logos resides. And I'll explain the dimensions and densities of consciousness when I talk more about the Law of One and other concepts that pertain to the greater scope of what exo-spirituality really is. Now, throughout history, we have a phenomenon that is known as multiple discovery or simultaneous invention. And what it is where people make the same discovery or invention at almost the same time or within a very similar time period. For example, the formulation of calculus was discovered by Isaac Newton and Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. The discovery of oxygen was by Carl Scheele, Joseph Priestley and Antoine Lavoisier. The Invention of the Microchip by Jack Kilby and Robert Noyce. We've got John Shepard Barron and Don Wetzel, both created the first ATM at the same time. We've got Sir Frank Whittle and Hans von Ohain, independently created the jet engine. We've got Woodville Lathan and a team of two brothers known as the Skladanowski brothers, and they independently created the first film projector. We got the television created by 5 different people all at the same time in different parts of the world. John Baird, Philo Farnsworth, Kenjiri Takanagi, Charles Jenkins and Vladimir Zorokin. So yeah, there's thousands of these documented cases of this phenomena occurring. What else? We got what the science is saying. So I'm not saying that all this is caused by the Akashic records, but we do have a lot of scientific data that shows us how connected minds or synchronized minds are the same on the same thought process and the same frequency or hertz, as it's known as, will actually work as one mind. They can work together for a greater cause or a common goal. So these are scientific experiments, and you can check out the links below for any of these references and the research I've done. I'm just quickly glossing over a lot of issues, a lot of concepts and material here. It's up to you to go back, and I'll explain this all again at the end. To not believe anything I say, go do your own research. So we've got cases of people who have up to 90% of their brain either missing or deemed dead or just non-functional. Yet not only are they fully conscious, but have a normal memory, and some cases even a high IQ. So this does beg the question, is the mind local, or is it our individual mind is just a section within this Akashic field, this Akashic records, or a book just within this vast library? So also, is the mind also a holographic? Is the mind holographic in nature? As Dr. Michael Persinger says, the smallest part has the blueprint for the whole. So that's what the definition of a hologram actually is. So it's like that with the universe. If you look into Nassim Haramein's work, he explains how every single atom is infinite. It's like a black hole, and it has the sum of the whole. So the whole universe in every atom. So you can explore all these concepts in greater detail through all these people I've mentioned, and I'll leave links below. I won't keep mentioning it anymore now until the end. So what it also shows is that when minds are thinking the same thing, which is another way of saying tuned into the same frequency, as I already mentioned, they can solve issues with greater effect and potentially pull information out of this ether or Akashic field, regardless of their position within the world or their separation. Also, another good phenomena is the entanglement, quantum entanglement. So that's another area to look into for those who are researching into this field of fringe science or quantum field mechanics. So this process or access to this field adheres to the universal law of free will. For example, an atheist is not going to be able to tap in and come out with the solution to world peace or anything like that. For one, it's in direct opposition of this of that consciousness's belief system that such a field exists, this spiritual field. So the free will must be maintained for that entity, that consciousness, that person. Secondly, if a person does have the ability to tap into this field, the free will of others must be maintained or preserved. So, for instance, there's people within the world who do want continual war. They want war for whatever reason, for many various reasons. So to come up with a solution to that is against all of those people's free will. It's an infringement upon their free will. I will do a much more detailed description of free will in later episodes, but that's a basic explanation, just sufficient enough to cover the basics of what and how it pertains to the Akashic records. So, more on the science. First, personally, I've actually had personal experience with connecting to this field, and my explanation of it would be it's a field of information that is very generalized feeling about it, but it feels like the ultimate truth. This is like you access it in a deep meditation. So it's a place of ultimate truth where it's impossible for lies and deception and things like that to exist. It's like a pure love, pure energy, emotion, just purity. It's very hard to describe. It's very it can't really be explained properly in language and in left brain analytical. It's more of a right brain intuitive feeling, emotional kind of realm. So this is not only this field's not only spoken of in many prophecies, but throughout many scientific industries. Scientific work by the Institute of Noetic Sciences covers it a lot. Nassim Haramein, Erwin Laszlo, and Dr. Michael Persinger, who I've been talking about, and as you know, Nikola Tesla, who I also mentioned. Now, Dr. Persinger, his science is very good on it, and I do recommend any his lectures on this topic. They're very good at covering the detail. He goes into very scientific detail. So one of the significant parts of the science is he explains how the Earth's electromagnetic field is equal to the sum of all brains or all minds on the Earth, and he so that the sum equals the mass. So that sets up the conditions for a hologram. Now take note of that point, because I will be covering the holographic universe in a later episode. So accessing this information, Dr. Persinger points out how remote viewers access this information through their experience. They achieve high activity within their right brain. So this is what I was alluding to earlier. The right hemisphere of their brain lights up when it's being looked at under the radiographic machines, and how it's translated, how the target details are translated when they're trying to voice their target to the translator or their scribe. A lot of distortion comes through because of the analytical brain, so that the remote viewers have to go through a lot of training to not use their left brain when they're trying to analyze. They're trained not to analyze it, just trained to let it out, try and say the words that are coming through. Don't try and put any of their own interpretation in it. So another significant significant experiment is where participants are given a synthetically generated electromagnetic field through a helmet, sometimes called the God helmet. So this shared field causes the subjects' minds to synchronize or connect and essentially work as one, and generate or pass information telepathically. So he further points out that these experiments are not only possible for us to access information in each other's minds, but also information regarding locations, intentions, senses such as smell, feel, of something, plus much more through this telepathic field. He also says how this will not only this will be part of our future, and he calls it a future that's impossible for secrets and lies to exist. In the Law of One, this concept is said to happen when a civilization reaches what's called social memory, where all understanding is available to all the entities of a society once the entire group is of one orientation or seeking. So what does that mean? That basically means when they've all either chosen positive or negative orientation, the service to self path, or service to other, or service to all path, as I like to call it. So I'll expand on that in great detail in a further episode, so do check it out. So as we can see, there's much science to indicate that this is actually here, this field, and it's where we're headed, but also, there's many spiritual prophecies of this occurring from indigenous Aboriginals the world over, but also not only that, throughout all those ancient materials and teachings, but also more recent through whistleblowers and documents from military and intelligence agencies that show that they're using these abilities to great effect already, and hiding it from us, which is really against what it's all about. It's about the bigger picture that we are all humanity. We deserve to all be a part of it. We all, want this greater truth, want access to the greater truth in this next step in evolution for our consciousness. So, what's the bigger picture? What does it look like? What's the philosophical impact for our future? What would it look like? Well, to get an idea, we first must understand how the typical verbal communication works. Now, what happens is we first have intention, then we have thoughts, and then we have concepts or symbols, and then we translate it into words or language, and then we turn that into our sound vibration through our mouth. Then the other person, the receiver, picks that up with their ears, picks up the sound vibration, listens to it, listens to the language and the words, tries to decipher it. They use their own concepts and thoughts based on previous understanding and concepts that they've learned, and tries to assess the overall intention and concept of it all. So, as you can see, it's a complex exchange when you break it down like that. It's something that we do on a very regular basis, but we don't give it any thought to the processes. We've just trained ourselves to do it. We've trained our kids to do it. We've been trained to do it. So it's just something that our culture, it's something that we've done all along. And, it really begs the mind to think, is this a process that was different in their past? Because if you look into spiritual teachings, things weren't like that. The minds worked differently. There wasn't, before the Adamic race, it seems we didn't know the difference between good and evil. There was just, or positive and negative. It was just positive. We only did for one another. We only had the service to other path, or service to all path. So that begs a lot of philosophical questions about what happened? Who was this serpent that gave us this understanding of this negative? Anyway, that's a whole nother topic that I could go into detail on and research more on. I haven't done a great deal of research on it, but I'd love to. And if you'd like me to go into that, please drop a comment below or drop me a message, and I'll happily explore it. Any questions, anything you want to ask based on this kind of stuff, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm happy to go into it and research more if you would like. Now, back on to what I was talking about before I got sidetracked there. So as you can see, now telepathy, what would happen there? Telepathy bypasses everything except the intention becomes thoughts, then we come up with the concept. And so this process, the actual receiver can see the whole process in real time and then can respond in the same streamlined fashion. So you can see it cuts out a massive part of the confusion process, the area where confusion happens. So there's no way of Chinese whispers occurring. We look at something. For instance, you look at something outside with your own eyes. You see trees, you see beautiful green grass and flowers and a garden bed and maybe a few rocks. Maybe you saw, I don't know, two people having an interaction. You were able to translate that information straight to another person, so there's no confusion. They saw exactly what you saw there. You don't have to try and interpret it for them as if they were there. It's pretty much as if they were there if you transmit that information to a person. So that philosophical concept of that being able to happen, I'm sure your mind can run wild and see the impact that would have upon humanity. So, what would our future look like if we had that? Also, if we had access to this field where all information exists, we were able to tap in to, so we want answers to a situation that we're presently facing. You just simply meditate, log in, or tap into this data, this internet, whatever you want to call it, this Akashic field. It's this repository of experience that we're all taking part in. And we can find an answer to our current situation, or if perhaps the answer hasn't been found yet, we can continue working on that solution, trying to work towards that solution, trying to improve humanity even further. So all this, I know, sounds very hard to fathom that it's possible, but we've got many examples and experiments where these things happen. It's proven, it's documented, the science is done. It's not for speculation. This isn't speculation, this isn't conjecture. These things happen, and they are looking like, based on where we're headed in the world, it's looking like it's becoming more and more. The more we focus on it, the more we, I'll go into it in this next slide. What I've covered it in a previous video, this process of ascension, where the Earth is starting to pass through this photon belt, this belt of high energy photons, which is a toroidal field going around the center of the universe, as you can see there in that picture, and it's 2,000 light years wide. So we've just begun passing through this field. Now there's many prophecies that talk about this, and whistleblower testimony, and it's said to increase the consciousness of all life and upon Earth and bring us into this golden age. And however, I believe we need to be more proactive and start doing things that would be happening in this golden age. For example, be more mindful of our thoughts, of other people, be kind to one another, meditate more, try and tap into that field, try and raise your vibration, raise your consciousness. Always seek the truth, no matter how ugly it is. So those are just some of the things we can do. Explore the concepts of how this can really impact the world. Wrap your mind around it, like I said at the start. So thank you for watching. Please tune in to my next episode. Hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Feel free to leave a comment, and I hope you enjoyed it. Check out the links below for further research on these topics that I've discussed. Like I said, don't believe what I've said. Do your own research. I'm simply a gardener planting seeds. Love and light to you all. Until next time, namaste.